It's a Vileplume.
Yeah, but it looks a little different from the Vileplume in my Pokédex. PikaCHU! No, Vileplume!
Warning! Let's mess around with a Vileplume, your demise will now come soon. Having basics, we are immune. How like that is looking good, so come along with your PikaRom. Even Zapdos is quite strong, but it's no match in the long run. When we bring this custom pulling along, we go ahead and start to stall. It's quite an impressive defensive wall. Now that's a genius meta call. When the basics out, we rule them all. Although there is Zoroark, that matchup is really hard. Maybe Hoopa can be a card that we can use to put up our guard. Yeah, that's right, Vileplume of all things. Episode 210. Yeah! What's up YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome to episode 210 on my channel. As you know, on my channel we talk about the latest cards and best new decks in town, so be sure you are subscribed so you don't ever miss out. And also hit that little notification bell so you get notified immediately when a new video pops up on the channel. Alright, today we will be talking about a new annoying stall deck, aka Vileplume. This deck took everybody by storm at the Collinsville regionals, previously seeing success in Japan. We knew that Western players would also test this out, and why you ask? Well, let's talk about it all today. First, let us check out Vileplume from the Burning Shadows set. It's a 140 HP stage 2 grass type Pokemon that is weak to fire and has a 3 retreat cost. Why in the world would this ever be good? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's because it comes back with the disgusting pollen ability, stating that as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's basic Pokemon cannot attack. And this is huge because almost half of the meta right now revolves around basic Pokemon. Want to hear some examples? Alright, we have the many Zapdos Jirachi decks that usually run basic Pokemon. We have PikaChu ZEKROM GX decks running Zeraora GX and all that stuff. Even the Tapu Koko GX, Pikachu ZEKROM, it's all basics except for maybe Jolteon, which is actually kind of a tech if you're afraid of Vileplume, but more on that later. We have the Simian decks, we have Celebi and Venusaur decks, and so much more. All of these decks have a crippling weakness because most of them only run basic Pokemon. That makes them pretty useless against Vileplume if they don't have an evolved attacker in their deck. And that's where this deck shines. Countering half of the top decks is already a reason enough to play this kind of deck. And not only that, a handful of players also advanced to day 2 with Vileplume, so it actually is a very great deck indeed. So we'll have to take this threat pretty serious right now that it comes into the meta here. And yeah, maybe it will even get better with the new tag team GXs coming along, because all of them are basic Pokemon. Of course, the new Boswell and Pheromosa GX and Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, those tag teams are pretty hyped right now, so Vileplume will only get better. Vileplume is great for stalling, but can also be used as an attacker because they cannot hit you. You can even close off some games even quicker instead of just stalling and backing the opponent out. So it's very great, and today we're also going to talk about certain variations of the deck. Its attack, Downer Shock, deals 60 damage and you can flip a coin. If heads, the opponent's active Pokemon is asleep. If tails, the opponent's active Pokemon is confused. Both conditions are very annoying and make it awkward for the opponent to get out of the active position. They want to get out of there, otherwise either they cannot attack and they get destroyed, or they attack flip tails and they smack themselves in the face if they are confused. Either way, it's gonna be very great. Even if you come across some evolved Pokemon, if they are of course inflicted by that special condition, they will already be in an awkward position. I know the energy cost is pretty average, but being able to be untouchable is just awesome with this kind of card. And it's also just makes it possible to have 3 manual attachments on Vileplume. Before we talk which cards are also used in a list with Vileplume, I do need to state that Vileplume also has a crippling weakness in today's meta, and that is, yeah, it is able to get destroyed by evolved Pokemon such as Zoroark GX and Jolteon GX. Both of those Pokemon will make quick work of Vileplume. These are the most popular evolved Pokemon in the meta, and yeah, Zoroark GX will use Kukui in order to one-shot, and Jolteon GX will use a simple Electro Power to make quick quick work of Vileplume. So against those decks, yeah, Vileplume will most likely crumble. But now we'll talk about some other Pokemon that will help in a Vileplume deck. First up is Eevee and Snorlax GX. This is one of those cards that will help against evolved Pokemon, as its attack Dump Trunk Press dishes out 240 damage against evolved Pokemon. Enough to deal with most of them out there. Another sweet inclusion is of course Virizion Gx, mainly for its Breeze Away GX move, which states put any number of Pokemon in play and all cards attached to them into your hand. So it actually states your Pokemon. You cannot do that with your opponent's Pokemon. So let's say you get out a lot of stuff into play. Well, you don't want to get dunked, that's why you're doing that, and at the end of the game you just use that Breeze Away GX in order to just put everything back in the hand and end up with a lone Vileplume or maybe multiple Vileplume. That would just be crazy, because if the opponent is not running evolved Pokemon, they are done for, and that's how this deck will work and win tournaments. So Eevee Snorlax for evolution Pokemon, and then of course Vileplume against basics. If you don't want to bother with energies into your deck and you mainly want to stall, well, we have of course a lot of stall cards in the format. We have Hoopa from Shining Legends, which is great against GX and EX Pokemon, even though, yeah, I'm only playing the standard format, so I'm not talking about GXs mainly. It's gonna be actually huge because Zoroark GX is in, yeah, a GX Pokemon, Lycanroc as well, so if they don't have things like Weavile in their list, a simple Hoopa will also work out to stall, so that is pretty awesome, right? Another big basic is gonna be Regigigas. Of course, we've seen it before with the Ancient Crystals, and of course it's back in this kind of deck. Magikarp and Wailord GX is also here for the 300 HP, and Chuckle GX also is very great with its stall ability, being able to just be invincible if the opponent has only 2 energies attached. They need at least 3 in order to hit it. In a deck like this, you just want to stall, make sure that the opponent is decking out, and set up a wall by using Steven's Resolve early game to get the cards you want. Ace Roller and Max Potion are your way of healing off your damage if you somehow get damaged. Let's say the opponent is running evolved Pokemon like a Zubstrika for instance, and they hit out some damage against Vileplume. No problem, Ace Roller and Max Potion is here. I know Vileplume still has to evolve, but we can get another rare candy thanks to Steven's Resolve in some way. And also we have Lusamine. The Lusamine loop will work with Ace Roller as much as you like. Same goes for some supporters that are disruptive. We have Team Skullgrunt, discarding cards, energy cards from the hand. Faba, putting stuff in the Lost Zone. Plumeria, because yeah, with stall you always want to try and aim for energy denial in order to win the game. But now with Vileplume thrown into the stall decks, a ton of your matchups become way easier. Also, the new Prism Star Wondrous Labyrinth will make it hard for the opponent to attack you, as they need an extra energy to attack you, and with the help of Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer, a ton of decks won't be able to respond quickly enough. Yeah, trapping opponents is also a way if you want to stall. You can use PikaCHU to trap something in the active position, or your yeah, typical Guzma, which you can recover with of course the Lusamine loop. You just trap something in the active position that is not able to retreat, and let's say you only have 1 Pokemon in the active position, well, that becomes very awesome because their Guzma will no longer work. So let's say Vileplume is the only Pokemon in the active, while PikaCHU, some Pokemon that has a lot of retreat, and bam, it's gonna be stuck. I know there is of course a way to get out of the active position with free retreat. Of course, Zeraora GX is a main counter against that stalling trapping mechanic, but of course I just had to mention it right here because if they cannot retreat and we have energy denial, that's already a great thing to dag them out. Yeah, for setup, we will have to play lots of Nest Balls and Net Ball, of course, to get our amazing Odysseys in play in order to just evolve them as quickly as possible. The best possible solution here is just getting a couple of Odysseys in play. I know one of them will see the discard soon, and then of course you use a Steven's Resolve, so you have Rare Candy and Vileplume ready, so that's going to be very great to stall. Don't forget that we also can play a Lugia GX in combination with Counter Gain and a Double Cars Energy to just use that GX move to put something into the Lost Zone. That will make it possible just to put our main threat in the Lost Zone. Think about a Gardevoir GX with a bazillion energies as an example, or maybe they are actually only having 1 evolved Pokemon in their entire deck. If you can put it in the Lost Zone, you're gonna be great, and afterwards you just let Lugia see the discard pile, and then Vileplume locks you in for the rest of the game. That is just a fantastic. Another way a Pokemon can do that is Articuno with his GX move, discarding all the energies, but I do love the Lugia with the energy gain and the double cars energy combo way better. A good example, yeah, of a Vileplume lock game, if let's say, yeah, we're facing PikaRom and they have a Jolteon GX, and well, we don't have an answer for that. We want to put that card in the Lost Zone. Well, very simple. Switch to your Lugia with a card. Yeah, a lot of people run Tate and Liza in a stall deck since you can recover that, and you can also switch with it. So you use Tate and Liza, swap into Lugia GX, attach a double Card's energy, equip the counter gain, and out of nowhere that Jolteon will be in the lost zone, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And then there's only basic Pokemon in play, and then Vileplume shine. So that's how it will work. Also, don't forget your rare candies in your deck. That is the main way to get Vileplume out as quickly as possible. Don't want to mess with any glooms anytime soon. And seeing that, as you will be untouchable against most matchups, why not play Unknown Hand in your deck? Just pass a couple of turns, make the matches go quicker, just scream out pass, 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 until you of course have a lot of cards in your hand, and then of course you can use the Tate and Liza, switch into Unknown Hand, and bam, you automatically win. That is also something I can see working with this. Also, Gladion is also quite the key in some Vileplume variants that don't run energies, because you won't be taking any prize cards in that version of the deck, so having access to your prize cards at any time thanks to Gladion will be necessary indeed. Another way I've seen people play Vileplume is with Alolan Ninetales, the one with Luminous Barrier, which is pretty neat. Of course, it is the same ability as Hoopa from Shining Legends, but Alolan Vulpix in the early game can use Beacon for 0 energies to set up your Vileplume on the bench, so that is going to be nice. Also, Bill's Analysis is a neat new supporter card from the team up set, which will help of course to get your Vileplumes out quicker. If you're in a maximum count of 4 rare candy, you'll definitely run into it with Bill's Analysis, so that's great. Shaman from Lost Thunder is also something I've seen. This is sometimes used in Venusaur Celebi, but this time around it's going to be used here for Vileplume. Just get some Shaman on the bench, and then yeah, since most decks do not run evolved Pokemon, you can heal off a lot of damage every single turn. Yeah, for an example, let's say you're facing a Malamar version. The only evolved Pokemon in their deck is Malamar. Malamar will use its attack like 3 times in order to one-shot you, and with a couple of Shaman out, it will be impossible, of course, for Vileplume to go down. I know you are weak to like Guzmas. They can Guzma out there, of course, the Shaman, but then they waste all of their Guzmas and you can trap something in the active position. So it's gonna be kind of a niche combo right here. And if you want even a quicker way than Bill's Analysis to get your Vileplume into play, then I suggest Alolan Ninetales GX with the Mysterious Guidance. It is a way to search out your rare candies immediately. Remember, of course, I know it's a GX, but we can get rid of it with Virizion Gx, with Breeze Away GX afterwards to clean up our board, and it does actually be very, very insane here if you can get out a second turn Alolan Ninetales, get that rare candy, and a second turn Vileplume. It's gonna be fantastic. But yeah, as mentioned, getting a Vileplume in play is just so easy nowadays. Ross Cotton, a well-known player in the community, played Vileplume as well at the Collinsville Regional, and he opted to go for 3 copies of Last Chance Potion, since that would help a ton against evolved Pokemon. Imagine Zoroark players that do not run Kukui. Well, then Zoroark GX is limited to 120 damage. With Last Chance Potion, you can heal off all the damage immediately. Same against Malamar, they attack you twice and then you heal off all the damage. It's a genius inclusion in an attacking Vileplume version, so this is going to be used if you're running energies in your Vileplume variant as well. With this, you don't want to stall too often, you just want to attack as quickly as possible with Vileplume and heal off the damage with things like Gardenia, Last Chance Potion, and Life Force Prism Star. All of these cards actually make sure that you actually keep your energies attached to your Vileplume. Pretty genius, right? And with counter energy, you can even attack for 2 attachments if you're behind in prize cards. Don't forget, you also have a little bit of a split line of Alolan Ninetales. You can either run Luminous Barrier besides the GX, or you can run both of them. It's gonna be fantastic either way, since you have answers against a lot of things. Yeah, definitely against things like Zoroark. Let's say you have like an Alolan Ninetales with Luminous Barrier and they have all GXs, well, they're done for. So that's gonna be it for another episode on the channel, but right now I'm interested in your opinion. What do you think about Vileplume? Did you see this coming as a deck? And even that it made day 2. Do you currently have an answer to this in your main deck, or are you gonna play it yourself? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyhow, this pretty much wraps it up for another weekly TCG episode on my channel. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to demolish the like button. As always, it helps out the channel tremendously, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Alright, thanks again for watching, and I wish you all a very fantastic rest of your day. Stay fresh. Until next time, peace. If you wanna go and test a deck that isn't played a lot in this format, then listen to what I'll say. If you wanna go and try it out with me, let me know how it does in a tournament. I think it could be really great. Chilling on Sundays while new ideas pop in my brain. Where is my note?